As we journey through life, we all face moments of uncertainty and trial. Some of you may find yourselves in the midst of a storm right now, surrounded by the winds of doubt and the waves of fear. You may feel like your strength is failing, that the waves are crashing down too hard, that you're sinking under the weight of it all. But I want you to hear this. God never promised us a life without storms. But He did promise that He would be with us in every single one, guiding us to the other side. Maybe you've recently experienced loss, the loss of a job, the breakdown of a relationship, or perhaps you're struggling with a health issue that's taken you by surprise. Maybe your plans have fallen apart, and you're left wondering why this has happened. But let me tell you, the storms of life are not a sign that God has forgotten you. They are not a punishment or a sign of His displeasure. Rather, they are a natural part of this life, and they can be used by God to strengthen you, to build you up, and to draw you closer to Him. It's in these very storms that we learn the most about ourselves and about God. When everything else is stripped away, when we're left with nothing but our faith to cling to, that's when we discover just how strong that faith really is. It's when we are pushed to our limits, when the challenges seem insurmountable, that we find out who we really are and what we truly believe. Consider the oak tree. It starts as a small seed buried deep in the ground. It fights its way up through the soil, and as it grows, it faces the wind, the rain, the heat of the sun, and the cold of winter. Year after year, it endures adversity, and it is through that adversity that it becomes strong and mighty. The same is true for us. It's only through the storms of life that we grow stronger. It's only through facing challenges that we develop the resilience and the character that God desires in us. But it's not just about surviving the storm, it's about what the storm produces in us. The Bible tells us that trials produce perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts. The storms we face are not pointless, they have a purpose. They are shaping us, refining us, making us more like Christ. When you're in the midst of the storm, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Fear can take hold, making you feel like you're going under. But remember this: fear is a liar. Fear tells you that you're alone, that you won't make it, that the storm will consume you. But God's truth is greater than fear. His word tells us that He is with us, that He will never leave us nor forsake us. He is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. When you feel like you're drowning, call out to Him. He is the one who calms the storm with a word. He is the one who walks on water and lifts us up when we are sinking. It's in the fire of trials that our faith is tested and purified. It's when we are brought to our knees that we truly learn to rely on God. In the storm, we discover the power of God to deliver us, the strength of God to sustain us, and the faithfulness of God to keep His promises. The storm doesn't last forever, But the work God does in us during the storm has eternal significance. Think about David. Before he faced Goliath, God sent him smaller challenges, a lion and a bear. Each victory gave him the confidence to face the next challenge. God was building him up, preparing him for something greater. The same is true for you. The battle you're fighting today is preparing you for something bigger tomorrow. Every victory, no matter how small, builds your faith, strengthens your character, and prepares you for the next challenge. But here's the key. Don't focus on the storm. Focus on the one who controls the storm. When Peter walked on water, he only began to sink when he took his eyes off Jesus and focused on the wind and the waves. Keep your eyes on Jesus. He is your anchor in the storm, your refuge in the midst of chaos. He is the one who brings peace in the middle of the storm. The challenges you face today are not without purpose. They are opportunities to grow, to deepen your faith, and to experience God's power in a new way. Every difficulty contains within it the seed of an equal or greater opportunity. But to see it, you have to stop looking at the problem and start looking at the possibilities. Yes, people may fail you. Circumstances may disappoint you. But God will never fail you. He is faithful, and His plans for you are good. When you feel like you've reached the end of your strength, remember that God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. He will carry you through. He will bring you to the other side. And when you do reach the other side, you will be stronger, wiser, and more deeply rooted in your faith than ever before. You will have a testimony of God's faithfulness, a story of His grace and power at work in your life. And that testimony will be a source of hope and encouragement to others who are facing their own storms. So take heart. Be strong and courageous. The storm may be fierce, but your God is greater. The winds may blow, but your foundation is secure in Christ. You may be in the fight of your life, but you are not alone. God is with you, and He is for you. And when the storm passes, you will stand tall, a testimony of His power, His love, and His faithfulness. Remember, it's not about the size of the storm, it's about the size of your God. And He is mighty to save.